Hey there YouTubers, and once again welcome to another action figure review. As you can see today I'm going to be taking a look at two more Doctor Who figures, this time from the new series, and this must be the first time that I've done a new series action figure review for Doctor Who in God knows how long. And as you can see, it is the Fires of Pompeii Set, which contain two figures, and I believe these were the first Series 4 figures which I got, which was way back in 2008. We have a random Roman soldier, which is quite an interesting addition to the line, and we have the Pyrovile foot soldier. So first off, let's take a look at the Pyrovile. Now, of course, this creature appeared in the story The Fires of Pompeii, which is now considered a sort of modern classic because Karen Gillan and Peter Capaldi made appearances in this story as different characters before they went on to become Amy Pond and, of course, the current Doctor, the 12th Doctor. So here we have the Pyrovile, and I must say it is quite a good figure. It's one of the taller figures out of this line, and I think it's quite a good figure. Of course it has to be taller because the Pyrovile foot soldiers were taller than the average human in this episode, and I think all around the figure of this creature is very well detailed. You just get a closer look at the body. Of course it's all made out of plastic, I think we all know that, but it's really good what character options have done here. They've given it like a rock-like structure, which I think is really good. It works really well, and they've given this like sort of magma lava touch to it as well, because Pyroviles are sort of like fire creatures. So I think that all around the detail, there's not really that much to say. You've got all the textures and things, all the stones and rocks and all of that, and you know, the plastic fire. But all around, there's not really that much to talk about because, well, they don't have a lot of colours, do they? But I think the head, I think the way they've sculpted that with all the pointy, sharp rocks at the top and around the back, I think that's very nicely detailed. Gives you the impression that it's a sort of alien soldier creature, and I like the head sculpt. You can just see underneath the eyes, and if you shine it in light, it looks very good, I must say. If you like put it in the dark, sometimes you may be able to see all the reflective lights coming off all these bright bits here which represent the fire. So I think overall the whole detail all around is pretty good. You know, you've got all these stones all over the place, all these rocks all over the place. I think it works really well. The articulation, I think, is it's pretty much standard. You've got rotation in the head. It can do a 360, and it is on a ball joint as well, so you can slightly move it up and down and left to right. It's not as ball jointed as you might think it is, though, so be wary of that. You don't have ball jointed arms, they just swivel and do a 360, and there's articulation at the biceps and at the elbows and at the wrists. And over here we've got articulation at this fire part, and it sort of connects into the chest area. So you just turn that around, and there's articulation at the waist that can do a 360, and articulation at the feet. Now they're sort of ball jointed, they can go out from side to side. you can see under here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can actually see the joint inside. So you can move the legs around, you can move the knees back and forth, and you can articulate the feet as well. So this guy has got a good amount of articulation, which is quite good because quite a lot of figures in the Doctor Who line, especially by this point, they didn't have that much articulation. I mean, it was only very later on when we started getting the ball jointed arms. But what do I think of this figure? I think it's a brilliant figure. It looks just like how the Pyrovile foot soldiers did. There's not really that much to say about it other than it represents what you saw on the screen, and I think it's a good representation of the Pyrovile that we saw, and it's quite a good army builder as well. Now, I mentioned that the Pyrovile was one of the taller figures out of this line. Here I'm standing him alongside the K1 robot. For those of you unfamiliar, this was a robot that appeared in the 1974 Tom Baker story Robot. It was Tom Baker's first story, and this particular figure was a collect and build figure, which was released in the very first wave of the classic action figure line, and it was released, I'd say, around the same time as when the Pyrovile came out. It was in the same year, I can tell you that, but I'm not sure what came first, whether it was the robot or the Pyrovile, but it was definitely in the same year. So as you can see, the K1 robot is just a teeny weeny bit bigger than the Pyrovile foot soldier, and I think that's just about right because the robot was quite a big robot before it became ginormous in the final part of that story. So I think overall they've got the scale around just about right. I mean, I don't think we all know because we never saw these two alongside each other in any episode. Now on to the more peculiar thing about this particular set, and it's the fact that it came with a Roman soldier. Now, I'm all up for it getting these types of figures, but I don't recall seeing a character that looked like this. I mean, if we just zoom into the face, does it resemble any particular character from this episode? I'm saying probably not, and it's quite odd that we got a soldier to come in this set with the Pyrovile. I would have much preferred it if it just maybe came with the Pyrovile on its own, or perhaps a Pyrovile with another figure from this episode. I would have really loved to see a Lucius Dexterous figure with the stone arm, and maybe, of course, a Caecilius figure, seeing as that character was played by Peter Capaldi. And there's no reason why a character can't do that now, seeing as Capaldi is the Doctor. All they would need to do is just make a new piece for the body and just put the Capaldi head on. That is all they would need to do, seeing as Capaldi looked a little bit younger in this episode. But I would love to see that happen. Character, if you're watching this, make it a Caecilius figure so we can put it alongside our 12th Doctors when they finally come out later this year or next year, whenever it will be. So, I said that this is an odd addition, but it's a good figure. I think the detail on his armour is excellent. Looks just like a Roman soldier. He got all the details on the helmet. It's all painted silver along with the main torso of the armour, and you've got all these gold bits at the top, and you've got all these bolts, which I think is very nice. And at the cheek areas you got these bolts as well. I don't know, it kind of looks like Brad Pitt a little tiny bit. Might just be me being weird, I don't know. The face, again, I don't know who it's supposed to resemble from this episode. I think it's just a random soldier. It's just a generic person, really. He's got a moustache and beard sculpted on. It's sculpted very nicely. It's a very nice figure for something that's not that important. And I think all of this, the way they've done it, all the shoulders and everything, are very nice. At the back as well, nice sculpting here, and you've got the belt here that just goes down the figure. It's not made out of any rubbery material, so it's not movable. It's just sculpted as part of the whole body of the figure, so as you can see. And he's got the two pockets sculpted, and he has the weapons inside the pockets. This bit here is made of a little bit of a rubber material, and at the shorts of the figure, or whatever you want to call them, it's sculpted in a nice burgundy colour. I quite like this colour. I think they work very well on the action figures, and you can see more of this burgundy colour just underneath the arms as well. And just at the lower parts of the legs, you can see that it is sculpted, his flesh, and he is wearing these types of sandals, and his toes are sculpted on there as well, although there's not as much detail. I believe they are his toes. So I think all that is detailed very nicely, and again, it's sort of like a shirt underneath, sculpted the arms as well, just the flesh of the arms. You know what I'm talking about. But the articulation, you know, it's normal. The head, very stiff on mine. I believe can do a 360. You can hear the plastic sounds as I turned that. Probably because I've never done that in all the time I've had this figure, and I've had this figure for about 7 years now. So the arms, they would do a 360, but of course they're hindered by these shoulder parts here, and you can see that the silver parts of the arm are sculpted into the arm, whereas this bit, which is part of the shoulders, is sculpted separately. The elbows can go up and down. There's articulation in the biceps. We have articulation in the knees and the legs, you know, you name it, they can go back and forth, side to side. There's actually articulation at the feet as well. So both of the figures in this set have quite a fair amount of articulation, I must say. Although you can move the torso. I wasn't sure if you could do that, but you can't have any articulation on the actual wrists of the figure, unlike the Pyrovile. But I mean, who cares? One cool thing about this, I mentioned the weapons that he has in his pockets. You can actually take the weapons out. So he has a sword, that's what it looks like, and you can put the sword in his hand as well. So I'll just put the sword down there. And we also have a dagger, although I'm not sure whether you can. So I've pulled the pocket out. The pockets come in these plugs as well, so you pull them out by accident like I have, and you can easily put them back in. In fact, I'm not entirely sure if this dagger will come out. From what I remember, it did, but I don't know. Maybe the memory's cheating me. But you can easily put this back in like so, and it doesn't want to go back in. You will never believe how long that took me to do. I cannot get the peg back into the figure. The peg is too big. So what I've done, for the time being, I've just blue tacked it back on. But guess what? The dagger is removable, and it looks kind of messed up. You will not believe all the lengths I've gone to within the last hour of this. I've literally spent an hour in between takes. So yeah, there is the dagger, as I wanted to show you in the first bloody place. But overall, this is a good set, even though I had that minor niggle with that pocket just now. I would really recommend that you get this set if you're a fan of the story. Just be advised, be careful with this particular pocket, because it can just pop off when you want it, like so. So, just be wary of that, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to click the link below to subscribe to me, James Croft, aka the Obsesstuvian 95. Have a great day.